Hi, I'm Charla from Freezer Meals 101. Welcome to yet another edition of What's for Dinner. I'm going to show you how I take our freezer meals and transform them into our family's weeknight suppers. I have to tell you, this week was a mishmash. It has some a little bit more elaborate meals that were amazing, all the way down to chicken fingers and fries. So it's like an eclectic mix, but we do like variety, so it's not that uncommon for us. One of the meals we really enjoy is a honey sesame chicken, and that's from Candy at Make Ahead Meal Mom. So I will link that down below in the description along with all the other recipes as well. It is super simple to make. So when you're assembling it in the bag, it's like 3 ingredients, close the bag, freeze it, and you're done. So could not be easier. It's one of those really fast chicken dump recipes. And so I took that out, but because of how much our family enjoys it and the amount of kids that were home for supper that day, I actually took out 2 bags of the honey sesame chicken and put both of those in the crock pot and served them over rice with some sprinklings of sesame seeds and fresh sliced green onions. Super delicious, very easy. We just had some raw veggies on the side, but you could really serve it with any kind of vegetable as a side dish. My husband and I went out for a date night this week, which is always something I look forward to. So while we were gone, I pulled out a bag of ranch chicken tenders that I had made that were in the freezer, and the kids just ate those with some frozen French fries. It's not high-end dining, but it is effective. The kids all, of course, ate it and enjoyed it, and we were able to enjoy our night away without having to worry about them starving at home, because it was a really simple meal that my teens could just throw in the oven themselves. And of course, if you had little ones, you could just have the sitter throw that in. So this was a really easy meal for the kids. Then we had beef stroganoff, which is just kind of a classic around here. We pretty much make it every single freezer meal session because both our family and Christy's family just enjoy it so darn much and it's super easy to put together. So we have ours with a veggie beef and Christy makes hers with real beef. But other than that, all the ingredients are the same. Again, I will link the recipe below. And we always serve it over egg noodles. We're not very creative with that one. It's just the best over egg noodles, so why wouldn't you serve it that way? If you have other suggestions for that, you can give them to me in the comments, but you'll have a hard time convincing me that anything is better than egg noodles with a beef stroganoff. Okay, the very best meal that we had this week that even beats beef stroganoff was chicken shawarma. This is a meal that my brother-in-law and sister-in-law introduced us to. They spent some time in Israel and they got to know it there. So they have shown us how to make it here. And so when I do the freezer meal portion of that, I just cube the chicken and put in the shawarma seasoning and it can all marinate in there. Sometimes I add a couple of drops of olive oil to help with the marinating. And when I go to cook it, I just take that out of the freezer and it fries up so fast in the skillet. This time I took out 2 bags because our family is large and they love this meal. So we ate both bags, but for this meal, if I want to really pull out all the stops, then I drive into the city and I go to this amazing Mediterranean bakery kind of place, and they make these huge fresh pitas. So I buy those and I buy their homemade hummus. I can make my own hummus, but if I'm there anyway, theirs is amazing. So I just grab some. I also got some tabbouleh. Again, I've made tabbouleh myself before, but this is super time saving. So we have it with tabbouleh. I did make the tzatziki myself because I've got a great recipe and it's super fast to whip up. So we had our chicken shawarma,
And how we serve that is we laid out our pitas, we spread on the hummus, the tzatziki, the tabbouleh, and then we also like to use sliced dill pickles on ours. Now that's kind of like a sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it thing, but for us, that kind of makes the dish. It gives you this tang and it's just, Anyway, so we served that with some Greek salad on the side. We just roll them up and eat them, and it is all kinds of Mediterranean goodness. The last thing that we had this week was chicken taco soup. Again, pulled it out of the freezer. It went into the crock pot once it was thawed enough that I could get it in there. And what we like to do with our chicken taco soup is we have it the first day as a meal, and we usually sprinkle some cheese on top of our bowls, just some shredded cheese. Sometimes we put some tortilla chips on top of that, eat it. It's delicious. It's a full meal because it's got everything you need right in there. But what we like to do with the leftovers, and there's always leftovers because this is a huge freezer meal, is my kids like to wrap the leftovers in flour tortillas and eat them as wraps. Because once this soup sits in the fridge for a while, it's not really soupy anymore. And instead of just adding more chicken broth or water to make it soup again, they've discovered that it makes amazing wraps. So I love this meal because it's kind of a 2-in-1. It gives me supper the night before and then lunch the next day when my kids make their own wraps out of it. So that is how we used our freezer meals this week to make things easy, fun, and delicious in the kitchen. Thanks so much for watching, and happy cooking.